Okay, so I want to cover some stories that have to do at least with the bracha we were doing yesterday about Ozer Israel Bigbura, about the belt, which I think give more context. And then we'll see if we can get to Oter Yisrael Betifara, which is the next bracha. Okay, so there was once a poor farmer, talking about, again, probably Ukraine, Russia. And he went to this little shul, and he had his little Siddur, and he would go there, and he would pray, and when the minyan stopped, he would stop, and he would leave, or whatever. But then the guy started davening, and when the minyan would stop, he would continue. And it would take a while. And once the Baal Shem Tov was traveling through this town, and he got wind of this, whether he was told or he just smelt it, I don't know. And he sees the guy is there, 1 hour more, 2 hours more, 3 hours more, 4 hours more, and then finally, in the afternoon, he comes out, like he finished Shacharit, and says, whoa, what was that? So he wants to talk to him. He talks to him, Shalom Aleichem, how are you? Aleichem Shalom. They do some niceties first. And the Baal Shem Tov is asking him, how come you pray so long? What's the deal? He didn't look like this big Chassid who was meditating deeply. He was just doubting for a long, long time. He says, Rabbi, I really don't know what the words in the Siddur mean at all. In fact, I don't even know what the right prayers to say are. So I just start at the beginning of the prayer book with the guys who are praying here. But I have felt especially inspired to do a little more. So I just continue, and I keep going until I reach the end of the book. Right? You got the Siddur, you start at the beginning. I hope he didn't have to Tehillim. It would have been more hours, but start at the beginning and you just go, you keep going. He didn't know what to do, where to stop, what to say, so he just kept going. And so it says, do you want me to teach you the order of the prayers? So you can pray properly? He says, Rabbi, that would be amazing. Yeah. All right. So they sat together a few hours, and he taught him the different prayers. This is Shachar, this is Mincha, this is Meir, this is for Shabbos, this is that. Post-it notes had not been invented yet. You know how post-it notes were invented? Somebody was trying to make this amazing glue, and he wanted to win prizes, and then he made this glue, and it was terrible. You glued stuff, and a few minutes later, it was gone. It didn't work. That turned into post-it notes. You just glue it, and it's not really glued. Anyways, they didn't have post-it notes back then, so they used papers. So he put little papers, put one paper here, this is Shacharit, this is this, little papers in his Siddur to know where to start, where to stop, what do you do before eating, after eating, everything. And as soon as they finished, the Baal Shem Tov left, and he walked out going fast, because he was in a hurry to get somewhere. The farmer was so happy. He says, finally, I know what I'm doing now. I can pray properly. And he started to dance because he was so happy, and he was hugging his Siddur, dancing. Then whoops! All the papers went flying out. He lost all the markings where he was supposed to start and stop davening. Ay vey. I want to know the prayers. What I'm going to do is, says, you know what? I have to go back. And he starts following the Baal Shem Tov. He starts going fast. He can see him at a distance. He starts going fast behind him, and it's going. And he sees the rabbis going through here and through the forest and up here and up there. And then the Baal Shem Tov gets to a little river. And the Baal Shem Tov takes off his gartel, and the whole story had to have a gartel, if not, why am I saying this? He takes off his gartel, he puts the gartel on the river, he crosses the river on the gartel, he gets his gartel and he continues to walk. And anyways, a few minutes later, this guy catches up to him. Says, "Whoo, Rabbi, I've been following you for a long time." "What do you mean? What's going on?" "You don't know, I was so happy and I danced and all the papers went off and now I don't have my papers and I need you to put them back." He says, "How did you get here?" he asked him. "What do you mean, how did you get? I followed you." "You followed me?" Yeah. "But how did you get across the river?" "Same as you did. You put your gartel, I put my gartel, I went across, just like you did." And he says, "You know what? Let's not put the papers back. Why don't you keep davening the way you're doing it? I think that's working better." Now, if he was able to cross a river walking, and he wasn't, the famous guy that people talk about, by walking on top of a gartel, he's probably doing something right, even though he's technically doing something wrong, but he's probably doing something right because he was davening from the heart. He was doing it lishma, he was doing it in honor of Hashem. And so that's a famous story about a gartel. And we mentioned yesterday that the gartel, the belt, this is the first bracha that mentions Yisrael, right? Ozer Yisrael Bigbura. All the previous brachas technically have to do with any human being. But this one, we said, a lot of people wear belts, but we wear belts for a different reason. In fact, the reason why Hasidim wear belts, wear gartels to pray, even though we have a belt, we have the elastic band of the underwear, from the separation of the heart and the nakedness, it's all there. We don't need another belt. Why do we need to put another belt? But as we'll see with also the next bracha, again, this belt is part of our way of preparing to daven. Part of our way is, I'm going to daven, now I'm going to stand in front of the king, even though Hashem is everywhere, but I'm going to stand in front of the king to speak to him. So I'm going to prepare properly. So I'm going to put on this gartel, and I'm going to put on a hat. Neither of which I'm wearing for the reason that normal people wear belts and hats. Back then, a lot of people use hats. Today, we were talking about caps a few minutes ago, whether they are expensive ones from the mall or cheap ones from Cabo. Cabo, that's where you got them? Epic, okay. But you got some in your trip, no?
Yeah, I'll get the expensive ones for you.
Anyways, so either way, we're doing this for a different reason. Now, the gartel has a very special significance. I can't explain what it means, but you'll get that it's special. Because it turns out that the Alter Rebbe, at some point in his life, he gave to his son, the Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, gave to his son, the future Rebbe, who became the middle Rebbe, a gartel. Okay, it's not a big deal. If you just hear that story, it's not a big deal. But the Tzemach Tzedek, who eventually became the third Rebbe, also received a gartel. And the Tzemach Tzedek have 7 kids, 7 boys. I don't know if he had girls, but he has 7 boys. And he gave a gartel to his youngest one, who later became the Rebbe Maharash. And when he gave the gartel to him as a present, his melamed, his teacher, was there. He's going, "Why are you giving him a gartel? I taught all your kids. You didn't give gartels to the rest." And his answer was something like, there's certain things you don't ask questions. Fast forward a few years, and the Rebbe Maharash had 2 kids, and he gave a gartel to one of them, who eventually became the Rebbe Rashav. And that same melamed was there, and he asked the same question, and he got the same answer. And when the Frierdiker Rebbe, the previous Rebbe, was 11 years old, his mother asked his father, no, his grandmother asked his father. So the Rebbe Rashav's mother asked him, "Are you giving him a gartel?" So yeah, I'm going to give him a gartel, but like not just a gartel. No, I don't think she winked, but kind of, "You're giving him the gartels?" Yes, I'm giving him the gartel. And he got the gartel. And then there's a story. I don't know all the details, but there was something happened right before the wedding of our Rebbe with the Rebbetzin, where either the Frierdiker Rebbe gave him a gartel or he said something about this bracha to him and becoming tied down together. Why do you need to get a gartel to become a Rebbe? I don't know. I mean, gartels are very inexpensive. You can get nice ones, silk, thick ones, or you can get one for $1 or $2. How much was your gartel?
I don't recall.
Aspaklaria maybe charge a bit more, but it's just a string, right? Just a string. So gartels have a certain specialty to them. If you're not wearing a gartel, you don't need to feel bad. Always go to Aspaklaria and buy one for a few dollars. Start
Some
wearing.
of those are pretty long, aren't they? I've seen them.
These?
Yours doesn't look quite as long as some of the ones I've seen where they like really have to wrap them around a bunch of times.
Depends. I mean, if they're thicker, they make make more of a scene. But I don't know. It wraps around me, and I'm not the slimmest of the slims.
Certainly, I didn't
But there's a lot of
the
space.
master of that.
You know, if it's because of my gartel, I have a lot of space to grow still.
Okay.
So. Okay. Hashem. Yeah, if I get thinner, then the gartel's going to be on the ground. It's not good. Okay, we'll start the last bracha. We have 8 minutes. What?
6:33 and a half.
8 minutes. The last bracha, Birkot Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam, Oter Yisrael B'Tifara, who crowns Israel with glory. Again, it's another bracha that mentions Israel, because this bracha, as the previous one, had to do with wearing a belt. This one has to do with wearing a hat, a crown, a head covering. And so it's the same situation as with the gartel. Do you have any Jew who goes to pray and doesn't put on a head covering? Of course, everybody wears a kippah. But Hasidim say, you wear the kippah all the time. Like, I'm going to daven, I want to put on a hat. Of course, if you're davening with the tefillin, you can't wear a hat, you put a talis on your head. Although Bachrim, who don't wear talis until they get married, they do wear the hat with the tefillin. So here we're like, again, thanking Hashem for the ability to put on a hat or any equivalent piece of clothing that can cover our heads, where we know that the head covering has to do with Yirat Shamayim, fear of heaven, knowing that there's something above you all the time. But that you also have with any head covering that we use like all day, like a kippah. But if you're going to go talk to the king, it would be nicer you put on a nice hat.
There's no commandment to wear a kippah. It's like a rabbinic thing, right?
It's a rabbinic custom, but now it's like an established fact.
Right.
like
tzitzit, it's in the
correct. Tzitzit is biblical.
Right, and the kippah became like
The kippah is not biblical.
can it be like this instead of this?
Could be anything. It needs to be a head covering. Doesn't matter if.
Can it be
So it could be a hat instead of and not necessarily a kippah.
Correct, but you want to daven with multiple coverings, because it's like if you wear the kippah all the time, so what's so special about going to daven? Now you have people who don't wear a kippah all the time. They come to shul, they put on a kippah, right?
Right.
But if you wear the kippah all the time, so what's it? You come to shul, you're not doing anything different. So okay, let's put on a hat. I'm gonna daven. I'm gonna put on a hat.
This particular blessing, though, is referring also to like the commandments, like the crown. Isn't the Torah the crown of the Jewish people in a way?
Correct, but no, but it's not like. I mean, this literally has to do when it used to be in the olden days. When did they say this bracha? When they put on their hat, right? Because all the brachas were done at the moment you became obligated. Put on your belt, you say the bracha. You put on a hat, you say this bracha.
But the belt is not only put on when the prayers, when you start to pray, not in the mornings, or is it when you get dressed in the morning?
It used to be when you get dressed in the morning. Or if you didn't put on a belt, you didn't say the bracha.
Wash your hands. You go through you put on your pants a certain way, left, right, left. I don't remember, but everything is in a certain order.
Yeah.
So this one here is in the house when you're getting dressed. You put on the belt, you put on the hat.
Could be also in the house. Yeah. I mean, technically, if you do Birkot HaShachar at home, you should already nowadays be wearing a belt and a hat.
Okay. Before you even start.
What happened?
Does
You don't need to buy a hat yet, David.
does a toupee count as a hat?
Does a toupee count as a hat?
I think it's a legitimate
If
question.
you put it back on and take it off in shul, yes.
That could be embarrassing.
No, he doesn't care. He's proud of himself. He doesn't.
He has, you have a nice hat. I saw
You have a toupee at home?
No.
Party City used to have nice ones. Anyways, okay.
So the crown of the keeper, the head cover.
Okay, so a lot of people wear hats, but we wear a hat for a deeper, more spiritual reason, not because of ourselves, but because of if you need to start your stuff, don't worry. You have some important places to be. And given that our head is the main differentiator between us and the rest of the creations, right? So we have to try to constantly recognize the presence of Hashem everywhere. And having something all the way up top can help us in that way. And, a lot of customs from the world require at certain important moments to take off your hat. No, you go to the stadium,
Yeah, right.
the national anthem, which is something we need to respect, take off your hats.
Correct.
Why are you taking off your hat? We are the opposite. You're going to come to shul, put on your hat.
Right.
You're going to talk to Hashem, put on your hat.
Interesting.
And I don't know religiously if when people went to pray in their sanctuaries with a they take off their hat.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I think you're supposed to take out your hat when you go to somebody's house.
So we use the hat with pride. It's something that gives us glory. It's a crown. It's reminding us of Hashem, but we're also dressing up for Hashem, so to speak. Recognizing in a very overt, clear way that there is something above us. And as we mentioned, all these three brachos have to do with a triple sephiros. And this one has to do with Chochmah Bina Dat, obviously, it's on the head. But it's the makif, the surrounding energy, and how it affects the Chochmah Bina Dat, which is literally Keter, which is on top of the head. Now, one last thing, and then we'll let David go put on his toupee to start davening. Yeah. It's your fault. I would have never thought of that. Says when you're a baby, you don't know how to walk, but eventually you learn how to walk, and eventually learn how to write. Now, to walk and write today, you don't have to think. There's no conscious thought let me move my right foot, and now let me move, and I need to bend the knee and extend the foot. You just walk, right? It's something completely intuitive. It comes from your will. There's no mental exercise. Once you know how to walk, once you know how to write, you're just writing. You're not, okay, how do I do the A? I have to do no. So this behavior that is completely intuitive, that it comes directly from your will without going through your brain, and your will has to do with Keter, the Sephira of Keter is the will which goes on top of the head, says it would be nice if you know from the morning, just like you have intuitive behaviors that are like natural to you, like walking or writing, or for some people driving, for other people they don't drive very well, but either way. Says it could be that today you could have some intuitive behaviors regarding your Torah mitzvahs, where it's not like the way I behave, the way I move, is automatically in tune with Shulchan Aruch. Like they once asked, I think the Rebbe Rashav, why he washes hands 3 times. A lot of other sections of Yiddishkeit, when they wash their hands, they do it only twice. 1, 2, 1, 2. We do 3. And at that point, they asked him, "Why do you do 3?" And he said, "I don't remember right now why, but I know I trained myself to behave in the way of Shulchan Aruch, so it's for sure the correct way to do it." He says, if I'm doing it intuitively, that's the correct way to do it because I already attuned my whole body to behave in that way. So as we're going to face the world, it says, it would be nice if we can behave
Why do they do this? I've never understood that.
this way. What's this? Rabbeinu Tam?
Yeah.
I have a class on Rabbeinu Tam. Maybe we'll do that
Okay.
next week. Shkoyach!